Hare Krishna, good morning everybody. Kara, Kim, Daru, Leah and Keith. Nice to have you here. Today we're continuing to dive into the longest purport in the Srimad Bhagavatam about one of the most important verses in Krishna consciousness. It's about the process of devotional service, the 9 different processes. Who remembers any of the processes? Someone remembers any of the processes? There are 9 processes. The first one is hearing. Here I remember one. And then there's chanting, and then there is there cooking there? Cooking? No? Or maybe dancing? Do you hear me? Is this sound okay? Yeah? Is there sound?
I can hear you.
Okay. I cannot hear you, Keith. Although you're not muted, I cannot hear you. Or maybe it's just me. But so the verse reads as follows. I'm going to share the screen. You're welcome to chant with me. It's a very beautiful, beautiful verse.
Are we Canto 2?
We kind of last week on Thursday we started reading this verse. It's a continuation of the pastimes of Lord Narasimha Dev and Prahlad Maharaj. So that's in the 7th canto. 7th canto, 5th chapter, verse 23 to 24. And yeah, we sort of spontaneously we decided to just keep reading where we left from on the chapter, and it's a really, really beautiful chapter.
Will you write where we're at in the chat?
The chat, yes. I will. Second, how do I do this? Chat. 7th canto, 5th chapter, verse 23. Here we go. So yeah, it's this chapter really gives us a nice vision on Prahlad Maharaj's tender heart and softness, and at the same time a lot of philosophical depth and understanding in Krishna consciousness. So we're going to start from the invocation to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Prahlad Uvacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmani Vedanam Iti Pumsha Pita Vishnu Bhaktis Chenanaiva Lakshana Kriteya Bhagavata Daha Tanmanye Aditam Uttamam. And we're gonna start where we left from. We already read a few paragraphs. If you have the book handy, you're welcome to join in the circle of reading and sharing. Don't be shy. Share what's going on for you in your heart while we're going through these different portions. We stopped where actually the beginning of the extrapolation on the different processes of devotional service happens. And it's which paragraph is that? Like 10 paragraphs, I think, from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So paragraph 8 starts from the Shravanam, number 1. These are the 9 devotional processes. And it reads as follows. Shravanam, hearing the holy name of the Lord, Shravanam is the beginning of devotional service. Although any one of the 9 processes is sufficient, in chronological order, the hearing of the holy name of the Lord is the beginning. Indeed, it is essential, as enunciated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chetodrapanamanjanam. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is cleansed of all material conception of life, which is due to the dirty modes of material nature. When dirt is cleansed from the core of one's heart, one can realize the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha. Thus, by hearing the holy name of the Lord, one comes to the platform of understanding the personal form of the Lord. After realizing the Lord's form, one can realize the transcendental qualities of the Lord. And when one can understand his transcendental qualities, one can understand the Lord's associates. In this way, a devotee advances further and further towards complete understanding of the Lord as he awakens in realization of the Lord's holy name. Transcendental form and qualities, his paraphernalia, and everything pertaining to him. Therefore, the chronological process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. This same process of chronological understanding holds true in chanting and remembering. When the chanting of the holy name, form, qualities, and paraphernalia is heard from the mouth of a pure devotee, his hearing and chanting are very pleasing. Sri Sanatana Goswami has forbidden us to hear the chanting of an artificial devotee or non-devotee. Hearing from the text of Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be the most important process of hearing. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of transcendental chanting of the holy name, and therefore the chanting and hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam are transcendentally full of mellows. The transcendental holy name of the Lord may be heard and chanted according to the attraction of the devotee. One may chant the holy name of Lord Krishna, or one may chant the holy name of Lord Rama or Narasimhadev. Ramandi Murti Kalaniyamena Tishtam. The Lord has innumerable forms and names, and non-devotees may meditate upon the particular, and devotees. Why did I say non-devotees? And devotees may meditate upon the particular form and chant the holy name according to his attraction. The best course is to hear of the holy name from form and so on from a pure devotee of the same standard as oneself. That's interesting. The best course is to hear of the holy name, form and so on from a pure devotee of the same standard as oneself. Maybe we can get back into that later. In other words, one who is attached. I'm just going to save that line because I don't quite understand that. Maybe we can ask Dear Govinda after. In other words, one who is attached to Krishna should chant and hear from pure devotees who are also attached to Lord Krishna. The same principle applies for devotees attracted by Lord Rama, Lord Narasimha, and other forms of the Lord. Because Krishna is the ultimate form of the Lord, Krishnastu Bhagavam Svayam, it is the best to hear about Lord Krishna, name, form, pastimes from a realized devotee who is particularly attracted to the form of Lord Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, great devotees like Shukadev Goswami has specifically described Lord Krishna's holy name, form, and qualities. Unless one hears about the holy name, form, and qualities of the Lord, one cannot clearly understand the other processes of devotional service. Unless one hears about the holy name, form, and qualities of the Lord, one cannot clearly understand the other processes of devotional service. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends that one chant the holy name of Krishna, param vrajet Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. If one is fortunate enough to hear from the mouth of realized devotees, he is very easily successful on the path of devotional service. Therefore, hearing the holy name, form and qualities of the Lord is essential. I guess it means this line that I didn't understand, that one should hear from someone who is has the same standard as oneself. It refers to someone who is attracted to the same form of Krishna, like then, because then Prabhupada says attracted by Lord Rama, Narasimha Dev, or any other forms. Like if someone is attracted to Lord Rama, naturally he's going to be attracted to association of other Rama Bhaktas, I guess. It doesn't make sense, Prabhus? What do you say?
I can't see what it says anymore.
That's exactly what it means.
Okay.
Very clear.
Okay, thank you, Daru, for confirming. So, yeah. Would anyone like to continue reading? Right here.
Yeah. In Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 5th chapter, there is this verse. Tadvag visarga janataga viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abhadhavatyapi namanyanantasi sankitani shadvanti gayanti vinukti sadhava. Verse is describing the name, form, and qualities of an entity. The unlimited Supreme Lord are able to vanquish all the sinful reactions of the entire world. Therefore, even if such verses are improperly composed, devotees hear them, describe them, accept them as bona fide and authorized. In this connection, Sridhar Swami has remarked that a pure devotee takes advantage of another pure devotee by trying to hear from him about the whole name, form, and qualities of the Lord. If there is no such opportunity, he alone chants and hears the Lord's holy name.
Very much pertains to our situation, I guess, because we're so far away from each other. Sometimes it's not, we're not even approachable. So, yeah, if there are no pure devotees to take advantage of, I like to how Prabhupada he uses the word to take advantage, because like it might have like sound like a negative, but yeah, we should take advantage of each other for the purpose of hearing. Prabhupada says here, in this connection, pure devotee takes advantage of other pure devotee by trying to hear from him. Main form of the Lord. And if there is no such opportunity, he alone chants. If you like, you can continue, Prabhu. Kirtanad.
The hearing of the holy name has been described above. Now let us try to understand the chanting of the holy name, the second item of the consecutive order. It is recommended that such chanting be performed very loudly. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada Muni says that without shame, he began traveling all over the world, chanting the holy name of the Lord. Similarly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was advised, Jananapi Srinatena Tororapi Seshruna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. A devotee can very peacefully chant the holy name of the Lord by behaving more humbly than the grass, being tolerant like a tree, and offering respect to everyone without expecting honor from anyone else. Such qualifications make it easier to chant the holy name of the Lord. The process of transcendental chanting can be easily performed by anyone, even if one is physically unfit, classified lower than others, devoid of material qualifications, or not at all elevated in terms of pious activities. The chanting of the holy name is beneficial. An aristocratic birth and advanced education, beautiful bodily features, wealth, and similar results of pious activities are all unnecessary for advancement of spiritual life. For one can very easily advance simply by chanting the holy name. It is understood from the authoritative source of any culture that especially in this age, Kali-yuga, people are generally short-living, extremely bad in their habits, and inclined to accept methods of devotional service that are not bona fide. Moreover, they are always disturbed by material conditions, and they are mostly unfortunate. And in the circumstances, The performance of other processes such as yajna, dana, tapa, and kriya, sacrifices, charity, and so on, are not at all possible. Therefore, it is recommended. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is saying the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one advances perfectly in the first life. I can't, the pictures in the way there, I can't see, can't read. There's something. Anyhow, this is success of life. In other ages, the chanting of the holy name is equally powerful, but especially in this age, Kali-yuga, it is most powerful. Kirtanad, krsnasya, mukta-sangah, param, vrajet. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one is liberated and returns home back to Godhead. Therefore, even if one is able to perform other processes of devotional service, one must adopt the chanting the holy name as the principal method of advancing in the spiritual life. Those who are very sharp in their intelligence should adopt this process of chanting the holy name of the Lord. One should not, however, manufacture different types of chanting. One should adhere seriously to the chanting of the holy name as recommended in the scriptures. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you, Darul. I just remember yesterday I'm reading now while I'm cooking. I'm reading this, I'm hearing this book by Amuna, and I'm in this pastimes that she describes how the dynamic between this one Mataji, Shama Mataji, and she met Prabhupada both in LA and in London, and she introduced this concocted chanting of Hey Radha Sham or something like that, Radha Govinda or something really, really mixed. And yeah, Prabhupada mentions it's not bona fide chanting. Although the names of Krishna are there, right? But specifically the Maha Mantra, it's mentioned in the Vedas. This Maha Mantra is mentioned in this specific form as the 16 syllable mantra. Dear Govinda Prabhu, he knows this quotation in the Vedas. I don't remember the Sanskrit. Maybe someone else knows. But yeah, this is not like, like someone will invent even the names of God themselves. It's not that we just take the names of God and we repeat them in some form. No, we specifically take that as a formula that was there. It was present in all the ages. I like how Prabhupada, he mentions that it was, okay, Fayan. Hare Krishna, Fayan, good morning. I like how Prabhupada mentions that this process was available in all the ages. In other ages, the chanting of the name was equally powerful, but especially in this age of Kali-yuga, it's the most powerful. I'm going to save this to highlight it maybe in the description to this video, so whoever watches the broadcast can reap the fruits of this reading. And let's continue and see what else is happening here for us. Anyone else would like to share or to continue reading? Maybe I don't know if you. I think you see the screen. If you can read, or
while chanting the holy name of the Lord, one should be careful to avoid 10 offenses. From Sanat Kumar, it is understood that even if a person is a severe offender in many ways, he is freed from offensive life if he takes shelter of the Lord's holy name. Indeed, even if a human being is no better than a two-legged animal, he will be liberated if he takes shelter of the holy name of the Lord. One should therefore be careful not to commit offenses at the lotus feet of the Lord's holy name. The offenses are described as follows: to blaspheme the devotees, especially a devotee engaged in broadcasting the glories of the holy name. B, to consider the name of Lord Shiva or any other demigod as equally as powerful as the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one is equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor is anyone superior to him. C, to disobey the instructions of the spiritual master. D, to blaspheme the Vedic literature and literatures compiled in pursuance of the Vedic literatures. E, to comment that the glories of the holy name of the Lord are exaggerated. F, to interpret the holy name in a deviant way. G, to commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name. H, to compare the chanting of the holy name to pious activities. I, to instruct the glories of the holy name to a person who has no understanding of the chanting of the holy name. J, to awaken in transcendental attachment for the chanting of the holy name, even after hearing all these scriptural injunctions. Oh, not to awaken. Okay. There is no way to atone for any of these offenses. It is therefore recommended that an offender at the lotus feet of the holy name continue to chant the holy name 24 hours. Chant holy name book. Okay, well, whatever. There's no way to atone for these. It is therefore recommended that offenders at the holy name continue to chant the holy name 24 hours a day. Constant chanting of the holy name will make one free of offenses, and then he will gradually be elevated to the transcendental platform on which he can chant the pure holy name and thus become a lover of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Okay.
It is recommended that even if one commits offenses, one should continue chanting the holy name. In other words, the chanting of the holy name makes one offenseless. In the book Nama Katam Udi, it is recommended that if one is an offender at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, he should submit to that Vaishnava and be excused. Similarly, if one is an offender in chanting the holy name, he should submit to the holy name and thus be freed from his offenses. In this connection, there is the following statement spoken by Daksha to Lord Shiva. I did not know the glories of your personality, and therefore I committed an offense at your lotus feet in the open assembly. You are so kind, however, that you did not accept my offense. Instead, when I was falling down because of accusing you, you saved me by your merciful glance. You are the most great. Kindly excuse me and be satisfied with your own exalted qualities. One should be very humble and meek to offer one's desires and chant prayers composed in glorification of the holy name, such as Ayi Mukta Kuler Upasyamanam Namastaka 1 and Nivrita Tarser Upagayamanad. One should chant such prayers to become free from offenses at the lotus feet of the holy name.
I liked how Prabhupada points it to our attention that the holy name is a person. It's not something or it, or it's actually a person. And the more we connect to that, the less, like that's part of, from what I understand, it's like part of giving up these offenses, to actually realize that there's no difference between God's name and God's presence. How was everyone's japa today? Anyone did some rounds today in the morning? He came, he did some japa in the morning with me here.
I heard a few of them.
Any realizations of the association with the holy name? Some adventure the holy name took you to?
I was noticing yesterday that sometimes my thoughts become more positive, more positive and more directed,
while you chant, or like generally, in general, you just feel more?
Not always like this, but I've noticed it. I was noticing it yesterday that I was thinking about something that's been in the back of my mind. And then I've noticed this at times, that when I am chanting, that's when I'm able to, I don't know, more connect to the thoughts, or think about it in a more kind of like empowering way, rather than just kind of like the ramblings of the mind, you know? So it's not, it's still inattentive chanting, but I guess it's a sign that there's some benefit from the chanting anyway.
Kim, you wanted to say something?
Oh no, I just read next time you want someone to read. That's all.
Yeah, please, if you like, you can read. We on the Shravanam. No, Shravanam? Not.
Yeah. Can someone else do the Sanskrit? Is that where we are?
Yeah. Smaranam, after one regularly performs the process of hearing and chanting, and after the core of one's heart is cleansed, Smaranam, remembering, is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukadev Goswami tells Maharaj Parikshit, Etam nivardyanam ananam ichatam akto bayam yoginam nirpat nirtam hare namanu kirtanam.
O King, for great yogis who have completely renounced all material connection, for those who desire all material enjoyment, and for those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord is recommended. According to different relationships with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are varieties of nama-nukirtan, chanting of the holy name, and thus, according to different relationships and mellows, there are 5 kinds of remembering. These are as follows: conducting research into the worship of a particular form of the Lord, concentrating the mind on one subject with withdrawing the mind's activities of thinking, feeling, and willing from all other subjects. Feeling and willing. Okay. Concentrating upon a particular form of the Lord. This is called meditation. Concentrating on one's mind continuously on the form of the Lord. This is called dhruva. I don't know how to say that. A perfect meditation and awakening, a likening for concentration upon a particular form. This is called samadhi or trance. Mental concentration upon the particular pastimes of the Lord is particular circumstances is also called remembrance. Therefore, samadhi, trance, can be possible in 5 different ways in terms of one's relationship. Specifically, the trance of devotees on the stage of neutrality is called mental concentration. Pada savanam, according to one's taste and strength, hearing, chanting, and remembrance may be followed by pada savanam. One obtains the perfection of remembering when one constantly thinks of the lotus feet of the Lord. Being intensely attached to thinking of the Lord's lotus feet is called pada savanam. When one is particularly adherent to the process of pada savanam, this process gradually includes other processes, such as seeing the form of the Lord, touching the form of the Lord, circumambulating the form or temple of the Lord, visiting such places as Jagannath Puri, Dvarka, and Mathura to see the Lord's form, and bathing in the Ganges or Yamuna. Bathing in the Ganges and serving a pure Vaishnav are also known as Tadya Upanishad. This is also pada savanam. The word tadya, I don't know, means in relationship with the Lord, service to the Vaishnav. Tulsi, Ganges, and Yamuna are included in pada savanam. All these processes of pada savanam help one advance in spiritual life very quickly. Arcanam, after Parasavanam comes the process of arcanam worship of the deities. If one is interested in the process of arcanam, one must positively take shelter in a bona fide spiritual master and learn the process from him. There are many books for arcana, especially Narada Pancaratriki. In this age, the pancaratriki system is particularly recommended for archana, deity worship. There are two systems of archana, bhagavata system and pancaratriki system. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no recommendation of panchar. Does anyone know how to say that word?
Pancaratriki.
Pancaratriki. I don't. Worship because of this Kali-yuga, even without deity worship. Everything can be perfectly performed simply through hearing, chanting, and remembering, and worship of the lotus feet of the Lord. Rupa Goswami states. Does anyone want to say that? Can you read that?
Pralada smarane tad angari bhajane lakshani pritu pujne akrastu abhivandane kapipatir dasyata shakyarajuna satma shravasa satma anivandane balir abud krishna patir esa param. Would anyone else like to continue reading? Maybe Kara? No, Kara. Okay. Fayen, maybe would like to? Or I'll read a little bit. Parikshit Maharaj attained salvation simply by hearing, and Shukadev Goswami attained salvation simply by chanting. Parad Maharaj attained salvation by remembering. Okay, so that's the question we asked last week. Who set the example by attaining salvation by the different processes? So Prabhupada specifies. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, attained perfection by worshipping the Lord's lotus feet. Prithu Maharaj attained salvation by worship the deity of the Lord. Akrura attained salvation by offering prayers. Hanuman by rendering service. Arjuna by according to a particular process, but every one of them attained salvation and became eligible to return back home, back to Godhead. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Would anyone be able to take over the reading? I need to use the bathroom quickly. Maybe Keith or...
I'll do it. Do you want me to do it?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. It is therefore recommended that initiated devotees follow the principles of Narada Pancaratriki by worshiping the deities in the temple, especially for householder devotees who are opulent in material possessions. The path of deity worship is strongly recommended. An opulent householder devotee who does not engage his hard-earned money in the service of the Lord is called a miser. One should not engage paid service, paid brahmanas to worship the deities. If one does not personally worship the deities but engages paid servants instead, he is considered lazy, and his worship of the deity is called artificial. An opulent householder can collect luxurious paraphernalia for deity worship, and consequently for householder devotees, the worship of the deities is compulsory. In our Krishna consciousness movement, there are brahmacharis, grihastras, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis. But the deity worship in the temple should be performed especially by the householder. The brahmacharis can go with the sannyas to preach, and the vanaprasthas should prepare themselves for the next status of renounced life, sannyas. Grhasthas, devotees, however, are generally engaged in material activities, and therefore, if they do not take to deity worship, their falling down is positively assured. Deity worship means following the rules and regulations precisely. That will keep one steady in devotional service. Generally, householders have children, and when the wives of the householders should be engaged in caring for the children, just as women acting as teachers care for children in nursery school. Grhasthas, devotees, must adopt the arcana-vidhi, or deity worship, according to the suitable arrangements and directions given by the spiritual master. Regarding those unable to take to the deity worship in the temple, there is the following statement in the Agni Purana: any householder devotee circumstantially unable to worship the deity must at least see the deity worshipped, and in this way he may achieve success. Also, the special purpose of the deity worship is to keep oneself always pure and clean. Grhastha devotees should be actually examples of cleanliness. Deity worship should be continued along and with hearing and chanting. Therefore, every mantra is preceded by the word nama. In all the mantras, there are specific potencies of which the Grhastha devotees must take advantage. There are many mantras preceded by the word nama, but if one chants the holy name of the Lord, he receives the results of chanting nama many times. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can reach the platform of love of Godhead. One might ask then, what is the necessity of being initiated? The answer is, even though the chanting of the holy name is sufficient to enable one to progress in spiritual life to the standard of love of Godhead, one is nonetheless susceptible of contamination because of the process of material body. Consequently, special stress is given to the arcana-vidhi. One should therefore regularly take advantage of both bhagavata process and pancaratriki process. Can I stop there?
It's good to there's so many important portions here. Anyone would like to highlight something, or I kind of feel weird that I'm highlighting everything. What is happening for you?
Spacing out.
Very bad. If you want to be a Grihastha, you have to be attentive to this verse. It's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prabhupada breaks down the whole Varnashram system here, and like Grihastha as the moving force. It's right. Most of us, either we want to be in Grihasthas or we are Grihasthas. So there's a lot of saving pillars here. Deity worship. If someone even cannot worship the deity, he should at least see the deity and hear. And the chanting, there's so many interesting points. I remember this verse specifically because of this aspect, what is the initiation? Initiation, like Prabhupada explains here, it's chanting only the holy name, it's sufficient. But to keep ourselves pure, there's the process of vidhi, of arcana-vidhi. One must therefore regularly take advantage of both Bhagavat Vidhi and Pancaratriki. Pancaratriki Vidhi is the temple worship, the cleanliness, the specifically deity worship, and it relates very much to this portion I highlighted too from this class, how a Grhastha devotee, however, are generally engaged in material activities, and therefore if they do not take to deity worship, their falling down is positively assured. Positively assured. Deity worship is specifically for householders more. Like now, this age, I mean, this time period, even when I was like, whatever that calls full-fledged brahmachari or whatever, still I had to do materialistic activity. I had to go and work. I had to go, daily earn livelihood. And basically I was pretty much like a grihastha in terms of my outside work. And I could feel, I could experience, and now too, like through all of my devotional service, how deity worship pacifies the heart. Like I was 3 years without really any deity worship, and now, dear Govinda has here Prabhupada's form, Prabhupada's deity, and every morning I dress Prabhupada, I bathe Prabhupada, I change his dress, I put some oil, and it makes such a big difference on all the other activities. All the other activities, they feel sanctified, like starting from the chanting to my reading to interactions outside. It's really, really creates an impression on the mind, this touch, personal touch with the deity, personal care. So that's like my experience, that I can really confirm that in this time period, everyone is a grihastha. Everyone has some grihastha. For me, it means that he has some responsibilities from the material point of view, like he has to earn livelihood, right? And nowadays, like even brahmacharis, I don't know if Keith, but someone was sharing with me that, in the temple, they force brahmacharis to go and earn, to go and bring some finances to the temple, not just to eat and sleep the whole day or read or whatever. They want them to do some practical work. So it's these activities are, they're very heavy, in terms of like contamination or whatever. So to be completely on the transcendental level in practice, deity worship, like Prabhupada says, it keeps us pure. But the real thing, like Prabhupada was mentioning there, I sift out this quote too, is the real thing is the chanting, the offenseless chanting. But again, because we cannot chant offenselessly, at least myself, so the pancaratriki is there to keep us sane. Like if someone worships the deity very nicely, it doesn't mean that he is necessarily pure or whatever, but he's sane. He's sane, and he has the opportunity to any moment to take advantage of the pure chanting once he gets there. That's kind of what happens for me when I hear these things from Prabhupada.
Yeah, with like brahmacharis or people that are in a renounced life, then they make progress by making their offerings with the intelligence, right, for the studying and preaching. Like it said that the brahmacharis, it's something, the fire of the intelligence, they offer their endeavor into the fire of intelligence, and then they have to offer it into the fire of the senses, right?
Yeah, grihasthas offer the senses, and brahmacharis offer the hearing process, sacrifice the hearing process.
Hearing? I'm pretty sure I remember hearing the intelligence. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, why don't you look it up?
Both. Hearing is both of them, right? But so the grihasthas, they're raising a family. So like you said, they're really engaging their body, their senses, mostly in their advancement. And then the deity worship is that you're engaging your senses, your hands and your sight and touch and all that, and worshiping the deity. And that way it's engaged in service. I remember when I was changing Prabhupada when I was in the temple, washing him and stuff like that, and doing the arati, the offering. Then one day it dawned on me also that was something interesting about it, is that it's a way of accessing like selfless service, because you don't get any visible reciprocation. You know, when you're working and job and stuff like that, you get money or you get some sort of material pleasure out of it. But when you're doing stuff like deity worship and that, then it's not a material reciprocation. So it's a very direct practice of selfless service. You know, I thought that was interesting. And that's supposed to be a big thing for Grhasthas, right? Selfless service, because they're supposed to, traditionally, they were supposed to, at every meal, go out and yell into the street to see if anybody wanted to come in and have something to eat, you know?
At least 4 guests a Grhastha should have in one day.
Yeah,
Yes.
an important principle for them, I guess, from what I gather, but...
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing about your personal realization around the deity worship, how it purifies and yeah, like you're not gonna get anything from that. You like by cleaning some doll, what you're gonna get from that. But because it's not a doll, because it's actually Prabhupada, because it's actually Krishna, you get the greatest benefit of Krishna consciousness, purification of the heart.
Yeah.
So you have a direct experience of that, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the street, many people, they ask me, like when I distribute books, they ask me like, I'm gonna convert, but what do I get from this? Tell me, what benefits are in your religion? And many times I say, nothing. You get absolutely nothing. Quite the opposite. We take everything from you.
Yeah.
It's purification. People, they don't understand that they have so surpass of, Rebecca was mentioning the other day, toilet paper and so many things we have extra accumulated. Like we don't understand. It's like cancer growing in our heart, and we never gonna be happy, So, what we really need is, this daily routine of cleansing the heart, cheto dharapana marjanam, chanting. And there's a whole science around chanting. Like people think, oh, I just Hare Rama, Hare Krishna in the morning and in the evening, and maybe on the way to work or when I'm in the shower. No. Or maybe it's just 16 rounds. Some devotees think, oh, if I just my 16 rounds, I'm good. No, there's a whole science how to chant 16 rounds, how to chant offenselessly, how to keep ourselves sane, how to keep ourselves in a conducive state for chanting, mode of goodness, right? Like we are here, is called Sattva Tov Institute. So it's a whole science of how to be in sattva, in mode of goodness, because Prabhupada says in the beginning of this book, in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, without becoming a brahmana, without being situated in a mode of goodness, not that everyone now has to, play the role of the brahmana, no, but everyone should come to the quality, brahminical quality, like goodness, religiosity, honesty, and clean dealings, externally and internally. So without that, no one can come to Shuddha Sattva. There is Sattva, but there is also pure goodness which is in the spiritual world. So without at least coming to goodness, we cannot come to pure goodness. So there's a whole science of how to chant to be in goodness. So we keep ourselves fit when actually the mercy comes and we are able to transcend even goodness. Even goodness, because goodness is conditioning us. Anyone remembers how it conditions us? Goodness,
being to complacency, being in peace, to comfort.
Yeah, like happiness, by its own happiness, Krishna says. The Bhagavad Gita, one who is in goodness is conditioned by the own happiness. Like, oh, it's very nice here, weather is nice, sun is shining, my wife is cooking very nice for me, my kids are very educated, they know Bhagavatam, everyone's gonna go back home, back to Godhead, but let's just enjoy a little bit more here. So, yeah, even that we have to transcend. I spoke to one devotee recently, and he told me, that it's okay, it's easy to tolerate. It's like we should tolerate undoubtedly everything, and it's difficult to tolerate hardship, like some difficulties. But it's even harder. It's even harder to tolerate something good, because we get attached immediately. Oh, it's so nice. Oh, no, that too we have to tolerate. That too we have to tolerate. The good conditions and the bad conditions, because it's not our original state of affairs is here. Our original position is in the spiritual world. So we can read a little bit more if anyone would like to continue. Deity worship has two. Keith, maybe you would like to read that. It's about deity worship.
Yeah. Deity worship has two divisions, namely pure and mixed with fruitive activities. For one who is steady, deity worship is compulsory. Observing the various types of festivals such as Sri Janamastami, Ram Navami, and Srimad Chaturdasi is also included in the process of deity worship. In other words, it is compulsory for householder devotees to observe the festivals.
Festivals are compulsory. Whose favorite festival from whatever? Anyone has a favorite festival? I like Govardhan Puja.
Yeah.
Rath Yatra.
Rath Yatra. Daru, Fayen, you have a favorite festival? You can write it in chat if you're shy to use the mic.
I like Kartik.
Kartik, yeah, that's a huge.
Damodar has to come in
That includes my festival there. Oh.
Yeah. Well, specifically the offering of the lamps.
Ah, nice.
The offering of lamps and that.
Prabhupada Disappearance Day too is in Kartik.
Yeah.
Very nice. Last year, I wasn't here, but I heard the recording. We celebrated in Nalini Kanta's place. But there was some chanting. Daru, what's your favorite festival?
No comment.
Nothing special. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's Rath Yatra too, but yeah.
Rath Yatra. Jai. Jagannath Subhadra Baladev Ki Jai.
Since my name is Daru Brahma, which is Jagannath, another name for Jagannath.
Okay, Daru is for Jagannath. Nice. Thank
You
you.
didn't know that? You didn't know that?
No, I'm not.
The original wood that went in shore, they cut all the deities from. It's called the Daru Brahma. It's not just Jagannath. It's where all three were cut from. And so anyhow, Daru means wood. That's what it means. The absolute truth in the form of wood. So that's why I always wear Jagannath t-shirts, because that's my name. Anyhow.
Okay. Fayan is
Okay.
saying he's listening. Okay, thank you, Fayan. And she likes Janmastami and Ratha Yatra. Jai. I would say, like, I like Govardhan Puja, but I like Prabhupada's appearance day. It's very, very special. Like the fact that Prabhupada appeared on, as some scholars say, that's actually the real birthday of Krishna, not Datsava, because that's when Krishna's birthday was celebrated. Like Krishna's birthday was not celebrated on Krishna's birthday. Celebrated a day after, because Krishna was born in Mathura and in jail. So when he was moved actually to his foster parents, they celebrated his birthday, which was the day after. And so many interesting revelations there, starting from Prabhupada's appearance, right? So yeah, I think I would say either Govardhan Puja or Prabhupada's appearance day. Hare Krishna. And Keith, he said, Kartik. Is Leah, is she around there? She has a favorite one too? No, okay, she's not around. And Kim said Ratha Yatra, and Fayan said Ratha Yatra, and Janmastami. Okay. Yes, Keith? Now let us discuss. If you like, Keith Prabhu, you can continue reading.
I had it muted. Now let us discuss the offenses in deity worship. The following are offenses. A. To enter the temple with shoes or being carried on a palanquin. B. Not to observe the prescribed festival. C. To avoid offering obeisances in front of the deity. C. D. To offer prayers in unclean state, not having washed one's hand after eating. E. To offer obeisances with one hand. F. To circumambulate directly in front of the deity. Yes, you're not supposed to circumambulate anybody in front of the deity, even sannyasi or whatever. G. To spread one's legs before the deity. H. To sit before the deity while holding one's ankles with one's hands. I. To lie down before the deity. J. To eat before the deity. K. To speak lies before the deity. L. To address someone loudly before the deity. M. To talk nonsense before the deity. N. To cry before the deity. O. To argue before the deity. P. To chastise someone before the deity. Q. To show someone favor before the deity. R. To use harsh words before the deity. S. To wear a woolen blanket before the deity. Oh, Ramachandra, look at you.
That wool, silk.
Oh, okay. I had a wool one when I was in Mayapur. Oh man.
And also, like, one thing I would like to mention that, like, these rules, this is like a standard for, like, if we want to go to the highest type of worship. Like Prabhupada, he was very concerned of, like, not taking a burden on ourselves in terms of these rules and regulations. He was very practical all the time. He is very practical all the time. It's a standard that is always adjustable. But this is like now, like the top-notch, like, top-notch standard, and worshiping marble Radha Krishna deities and things like that. Otherwise, like we read in the beginning, the chanting of the holy name is sufficient, and that's really the principle. Like if our chanting if we follow all these rules, but our chanting is disturbed, oh my God, I'm wearing this, so I'm not wearing that, I'm doing this, I'm not doing that, and it's like this. That's not the purpose of the rules and the rules and regulations. Rupa Goswami says should be serving us. It's not that we now serving to be very regulated. No. This is like the edge of Niyamagraha. In the evenings, we read Nectar of Instructions, and we read this one mantra that states that one of the obstacles is neglecting the rules, yes, but also that we put too much emphasis on the rules and regulations. Like I asked once, I have like in Israel there are many Jewish people, so sometimes I run into talk talk with them and ask them, what is the purpose of your religion? And they say, well, the purpose of our religion is to follow the rules of our religion. And this is exactly like the niyamagraha, that the whole purpose of my life is to be very, very regulated. But okay, but what's the purpose of being very regulated? No, it's to be very regulated, because that's what God likes. And no, God actually, if we go deeper into the scripture, God prefers that we break the rules instead of following them. But of course, then we have to situate it on a particular platform with God. But the rules and regulations, they're for us. And specifically, if you look closer in all these rules, they between devotees, they're not actually to the deity, like not to talk harsh, not to address someone loudly. Like it's all actually an interrelationships between devotees in the temple. And that's bring us back to this quote that I was looking for the last time. I'm not sure why I was looking at it before, and I promised to send it to you. Maybe it's going to be here. But the deity worship itself was introduced to actually rectify this propensity of devotees offending each other. So to rectify that, Krishna introduced deity worship, and all these offenses, actually offenses to devotees, blaspheming someone before the deity, worship someone else before the deity. Now the deity, what Krishna cares? How do we treat him? He's he is in the spiritual world. Lakshmi Saharsha Satasam Brahma. It's 1 million Lakshmis worship him. Who cares for our little achman or fruit or incense we offer him? The chemical incense that causes cancer. The real benefit is for ourselves, that we keep our association in a pure context.
Yeah, it's like a practical training to do that with the deity in the center of those dealings.
Yes. Yeah, you can continue, Prabhu. Sorry that I interrupted.
I was going to say something.
It was important.
Yeah, you were saying about how we're not, Prabhupada wasn't so serious about these things, which is nice. There's one, I remember, there's one of the, from the previous ages, that the deity worship and stuff was so strict, you weren't even allowed to sweat.
Yeah. Or anger too. Anger contaminates the body.
Yeah.
So what the deity cares if you're angry, but the deity cares that you're angry on other devotees, or you're angry on yourself, or that's the real purpose of deity worship, is to create safe space in between devotees in the temple. If it's not there and you have all these rules, then what's the use? So yeah, Prabhupada was very careful of not pushing any rules and regulations on the devotees, and taking them really step by step and adjusting it. He's very flexible with us. So in other words, we don't have to feel discouraged by these rules. We cannot follow these rules. That's fine. There are always something we can follow, and the most important thing to follow is to chant Hare Krishna and be happy. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Okay. I'll continue reading.
Someone there to show someone.
Wear one blanket before the deities. T, to blaspheme someone before the deity. U, to worship someone else before the deity. T, to use vulgar language before the deity. W, to pass air before the deity. X, to avoid very opulent worship of the deity, even though one is able to perform it. Y, to eat something not offered to the deity. Z, to avoid offering fresh fruits to the deity according to the to avoid offering fresh fruits to the deity according to this season. Okay, AA, to offer food.
Fruits, Prabhus.
What?
What's your favorite fruits?
I don't know. Papaya is up there.
Papayas.
So,
Hey, what's your favorite fruit?
Mango.
Mango, Jai.
Mango.
Daru, you
Mhm.
have favorite fruit? Or fruits?
figs are pretty damn good too. Nice, good fig.
Mango.
Mango.
Or what's that one that came on your property? Those nice red ones? Come on, Kim.
Persimmon.
What are those red ones? Come on,
Which
Kim.
fruit?
The red
Oh,
ones.
they're Fuyu persimmons.
Yeah, persimmons. Right.
I knew persimmon. Yeah, persimmons are too. They're really good. When is the season? It's like November, no? Persimmons?
Yeah, it's like November. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. November.
Kartik. Better be here for Kartik to get all the persimmons. I think my favorite is dates. Dates. Okay. I'm an expert in sidetrack talk.
Somebody's getting hungry.
Fruits.
Hey, let me mention one thing.
Yes. Yes, Daru Prabhu.
You know, we've all maybe heard about don't wear stitched cloth in front of the deity. It may even be in this verse for the points. Like, in other words, a kurta, in other words. But yet, you see Prabhupada doing it. And not only that, but it was basically like in hot India or a hot country, but like you're in Sweden and you're not supposed to wear anything but like a small chador and no shirt. It's like ridiculous. It's not practical. You know, so that's saying about being practical. So my own guru is very honestly said he doesn't buy all that. That's so strict you can't wear like what makes stitching so bad it can't be worn for the deities, and yet Prabhupada wore it and others. Anyhow, it's just a stupid thing, but we sometimes get that overly concerned with that and miss the point. Anyhow, this one's for the
increase our love and devotion. If voluntarily we can take to some rules and we feel that it increases our love, then yeah, it's welcome. But like you were saying, like I can really relate to that. Like when I lived in Montreal, like I would like chant and be in a temple in wool and in like what stitches, like how like sometimes I would have to wear a coat because I didn't have enough Lakshmi to pay for the heating, you know, like so if I had now to wear only a chador, you know, I'd get sick. So yeah, it's for the purpose of these rules is to increase our devotion. Like if we really perform the rules in a conducive way, we're gonna feel more desire to wake up early, more desire to chant, more desire to. The strictness actually cultivates more ecstasy. In the material world, the strictness cultivates bitterness, resentfulness, grudges, all these different things. So as soon as these things pop, you know, we should consolidate or notice that, oh, I'm taking something, I'm taking a burden on my head now. Like, why am I doing this? Let me adjust. Okay. So
I think
yeah.
in the previous ages, it was needed because people were more intelligent and they had more material capacities, so they needed to be engaged more strictly, you know, like somebody who has a shrutidar that can remember everything, that once they hear a verse once in their life, then they remember it for the rest of their life. Like, so their intelligence needs to be tested and it needs to be engaged in a very refined way, you know. And the culture was so refined that these things were like necessary to help people keep focused and engage themselves in it. But it's obviously not practical nowadays.
Yeah, thank you, Bhakta Keith, for bringing this to highlighting that it's from the previous ages. The whole temple worship is not Kali-yuga, actually. I was just reading letters from London when they started the temple there. They didn't have a temple until like 69. I think they didn't have a temple for like a year or two. And Prabhupada tells them, you're doing a more important work than having a temple. You're doing, preaching work. So just go on doing that. It doesn't matter. It's not like a temple worship movement anyways. Our movement is Sankirtan, chanting, conjugational chanting of the holy names. Temple or not, like the temple here in Gainesville, Gargamuni Prabhu started underneath the tree. He was sitting underneath the tree. What temple? He just chanted and made prasadam. Okay, maybe we can finish this paragraph or maybe another one and see if someone would like to summarize our experience here. So where are we?
I read to BB or something like that.
Maybe we can just even finish this paragraph because all these rules, they make me kind of hungry. I don't know why. BB, to sit with one's back.
With one's back to the deity. CC, to offer obeisances to someone else in front of the deity. DD, to chant proper prayers when offering obeisances. Do not chant proper prayers. Offering
you all the time eliminate the negation.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really into the negation.
Not to chant proper.
I must have been a hippie in my previous lifetime. Yeah.
Just kidding.
No, I would joke and say that sometimes where Prabhupada, one day this homeless guy came in and put some toilet paper on the front, and then he said, "Oh, see, he understands." And then he goes, sits down. That's what I used to joke. I said, "Oh, that was me."
Yeah.
Now here I am, my next lifetime, sitting with you guys. EE, to praise oneself before the deity, and to FF, to blaspheme the demigods in the worship of the deity. These 32 offenses should be avoided.
Yeah, so I mean, what I personally take from all of this is that this is, I'm going to save this portion so we know where we stop. What I take from that personally is that the rules and regulations to maintain a safe space between the devotees. That's kind of my parallel. If anyone would like to share something before we wind up the session, he's welcome to. Maybe what is your least favorite rule so far that we read? Or the most difficult that you see it will be for you to maintain that rule, if you were to accept it. For me, probably,
Passing air. I can't stop it.
You say? Passing
Can't
air.
stop. Yeah, can't stop passing air. That's my big problem.
Okay. Yeah. Difficult. You see difficulty in following the rule because it's physically it's difficult. Physically it's difficult for you to adjust the body. Yeah.
Me being a North American, I always had trouble with the worship thing, not looking at women. I see a beautiful woman. It's very difficult for me. It's a struggle not to look.
says that you cannot look at the woman.
I have when I was in the temple and stuff like that, and I think it connects to worshiping somebody, basically like offering undeviated attention to something is like, I would say is they have it's a type of worship, you know.
You experience that as being part of these rules, okay?
Yeah. Well, I mean that's just the way that I'm relating it. I would sometimes look at pretty girls in the temple room, and that was quite a struggle for me not to do that. Yeah.
Okay, but maybe something more direct from the rules and regulations, like Daro, he mentioned, like.
Well, one time when I went to Chaupati to see Radhanaswami, the whole reason why I even joined the movement was to get to meet him and go to his temple. And the first time that I met him, he was sitting in the temple room, and there was a bunch of people sitting around talking to him. And I was sitting there waiting for everybody one person, he was introducing everybody, and I wanted to wait for him to stop. And then when he ended, then I jumped in and I said, "My name is Keith, and I'm from Canada, and I just wanted to let you know that I love your classes, and and I really appreciate you," and blah blah blah, and started basically honoring him. And he just looked at me just like stone face, and I was like, "Holy!" And then he just looked over at somebody and said, "I just came to see the deities." But what I was doing was I was honoring somebody, or worshiping, or whatever, honoring somebody in front of the deities. Yeah, he was pretty. He didn't say much, but it was quite heavy. Quite heavy, his response to it, though.
Like it's difficult for you to hold your feeling of praising someone that you naturally or organically want to praise him because you appreciate him in front of the deity. It will be difficult.
I guess it was just one difficult experience. I don't really have any problem with it now. I just take it more seriously. But
I wonder about that, because I mean, we do praise Prabhupada in front of the deity, and there's nothing wrong with that. So maybe like spiritual masters, it's a different dynamic is there, because I mean we have Prabhupada in front of the deity, and we praise him, we bow down to him, we do abhishek to him. Like Tulasi, I know Tulasi usually they would, like if we would to have Tulasi here, when we do the Tulasi prayers in the morning, we would like close the curtain for these 5-10 minutes that we chant.
I'm pretty sure in the Nectar of Devotion it says that you can offer obeisances to your spiritual master.
You can.
I'm pretty sure I remember that from. I would say 100% look it up for yourself, but I'm pretty sure I remember that.
Yeah, you can see that in the videos and everywhere they do that to Prabhupada.
Prabhupada Steve, founder, Acharya, Jagat Guru,
Sorry,
Prabhupada's, I think, is probably in a different category. He's like, also, he's like, he's came to establish everything. Like he's the founder Acharya, for sure,
Yeah, well, I don't know the term founder Acharya in terms of like in this connection, how it applies, but I'm speaking about the term spiritual master, because you mentioned like you are sort of, that you feel a bit disturbed. That's what I heard from you, that you feel a bit disturbed, that you consider your like sort of shortcoming in wanting to praise your potential spiritual master, or you consider Radhanath Swami as your spiritual master, and you would see that if you would meet him, it'll be hard for you to praise him, not to praise him in front of the deity, right? Am I getting it correctly?
I'll never do that again. But it was just that one time. It was more like a one experience.
Of course. So why I start speaking about Prabhupada, because in our worship process, as someone who is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, we do the same thing. Like we sing the Guru Charana Padma when we recite the translation, and we offer prayers, and we praise Prabhupada in front of the deity, and they would do that. Like Prabhupada would accept that praise in front of the deity, and I don't think he would accept that if there was some sort of like an offense to the deity in that dynamic. You see my point, or it's a bit vague?
Yeah. I'm like I said, I know I'm pretty damn sure that I heard that in there, but in the temples, I know they close the curtains. They do Guru Puja, and then they open up for the deities. So it is closed when they do the Guru.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't think it's. Yeah. Anyway.
Interesting point. Yeah, something to research. I don't know. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just add one thing. I'm the only one who's been around here long enough, but back when the movement changed, when Prabhupada passed away, that was a whole issue. Yeah, we're gonna have group puja in front of the deities. Here it says in that right in that purport, you're not supposed to worship anyone in front of the deities. So they were. Some temples still don't, as you pointed out, Keith. They don't, and some do. It's not like it's a standard everywhere, you know. And then there was the question: what about all these other gurus now? They get guru puja too, and that have to close the deities for that. You can't worship them in front of the deities, and that was also an issue. So I'm just saying this is not a small issue. It almost makes like these too many rules and regulations when actually, yeah, you should. It's not you just everybody you meet just worship them in front of the deity, but your own guru. Come on, give me a break.
Yeah, he has a special position. Yeah.
It's just that by most places we did actually not close the deities after all, and they do the guru puja even for the gurus in ISKCON now. Right in front of the deities. It's all right. I mean, as far as I understand, someone's going to argue it. You're going to find someone arguing everything. But I'm just saying that anyhow, it's an issue that's like not completely clear, and you're not going to find one answer on that, to be honest, as in most things, to be honest.
I connect to your answer there with that it's spiritual master. He has a special dynamic with it. It's not like it's not like we're doing idol worship or anything like. No, he is Krishna in one sense. He is as good as Krishna. What's wrong there, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for highlighting that from your personal experience and experience to us.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I can't remember what, to be honest with you, I can't, like in Mayapur, I can't remember what they do there. If they close if the curtains are closed when they do Guru Puja.
Well, that was not like exactly the point of my.
I mean, it Prabhupada, he established Pankajangri and Jananivas as the standard holders for the deity worship. So I would, if there was anybody I would go by, it would be them. But
my purpose highlighting was that to highlight your experience, Prabhu.
Yeah. I'm just adding more to the discussion. I'm not getting into debate or anything.
I don't think you should like put yourself down or like feel shortcoming in praising your spiritual master, like even if it's in the front of the deity. That's kind of what was my.
That's what I was saying. I'm pretty sure it was like a offering obeisances to your spiritual master, but then like I said, also I think Prabhupada is also. He's not a normal spiritual master. He came to
No spiritual master is a normal spiritual master. Spiritual master means as good as Krishna. Shakshad Haritvana.
Yeah.
So if your spiritual master is spiritual master who takes you out of the cycle of birth, death, and old age and disease, he should be accepted as good as God. Shakshad Haritvana Samasta Shastra Uktasta Tava Bhyata Eva Sarva.
Yeah.
It's not like there are different types of Diksha gurus. Diksha guru means he gives you the transcendental knowledge that pulls you out of the spiritual world, or out of the material world. Sorry.
Yeah.
There are Shiksha gurus, but we don't put Shiksha gurus on the same level with Diksha guru like Prabhupada or someone who takes you out of the cycle of birth and death. We can have in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it explained how you can have innumerable amount of Shiksha gurus. You can have the more the better in one sense, if they bona fide Shiksha gurus. But Diksha guru means one Diksha guru.
Yeah, but I gotta be honest with you. Sometimes it's obvious that everyone accepts this guy's a great Diksha, but other people may say, well, he may be your Diksha guru, but he's not mine. And I don't accept him as being that qualified for that. And they may be right. Just because you see him as doesn't mean he is. Just like to be a professor. You can be a minimal professor who just got first year out of grad school, and you're a professor. And then there's someone who's been there 25 years, and everyone accepts him as expert. And they're both professors, but there's expert professors, and there's new ones. And same with gurus. They're not all on the same level. They're not. Not that everyone is literally, just because he's a guru, he's absolutely pure and can save everyone. No, he may be able to teach you something, but he may not be absolutely fully realized himself, actually, even though he's a guru. That's a reality.
Different varieties.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think we kind of neglected Kim in this exchange. What's going on for you, Kim? Which rule kind of stood up for you as easy to follow, hard to follow, or in general from what we read? We don't have to like summarize our whole experience of reading this verse so far by the rules and regulations. I just kind of felt it was heavy on me there.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I'd have to say I'm not very disciplined in general. So they all seem hard. Listening to chanting would probably be the easiest one. But they're all tough.
Listening to
Huh?
Listening
to chant. I can usually do that one.
That's the purpose.
I did have a question. I don't think it just hit me and I didn't know what it meant. Towards the middle to the beginning, it says, it was talking about the different offenses, and it says, to instruct the glories of the holy name to a person who has no understanding of the chanting. I didn't understand that in a way, because it seems like that's what we do all the time. I mean, in chanting in the street or preaching or anything, you constantly have to do that to some extent. So I didn't quite understand that one.
Yeah, you wonder about this, because otherwise, how can we share the chanting?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Well, my understanding, it relates to the aspect of them, whatever they take the holy name to be as, if they don't accept really like this, by chanting this mantra, they're gonna, finish the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. And we push on instructing them on that. That's kind of create, naturally they become resentful. Like, why this guy is like trying to convince me of something here, or something like that.
So sharing, but not pushing, sort of that kind of thing.
Yeah, anyone can chant and anyone can experience benefit. It really depends on their level of foundation, on how much benefit they're going to get. And if they're not completely aware of, it's connected to one of the previous offenses, chanting, how one should not, consider the glories of the holy name as exaggeration, to be exaggerated. Like, basically, sorry, do you say something, or I can mute you because there's like a background noise. I think background noise. So if we consider I'll have to unmute Kim too. There's a lot of background noise. It's kind of distracting. So yeah, considering the glories to be exaggeration. So if we, that's very, sometimes it can be related to like not to instruct someone who has not enough faith in the chanting, because it's gonna make him resentful towards the glories of the holy name if he doesn't have enough faith and things like that. And but there's no really necessity of doing that, because anyone who chants, even an animal or a human being or whoever, he's gonna have some benefit. He's gonna experience some transformation, and there are certain glories that they're revealed by themselves. So that's kind of what I get from that. If we unnecessarily instruct on, oh, the holy name, it's so potent that, you know, it can liberate unlimited amount of living entities, we kind of sort of provoke them in a sense to commit offense. Yeah.
I resonate with your response that if we kind of set others up to commit offense, then we're committing an offense.
Mm.
So like someone just be chanting, oh, yeah. So then we go, yes, and this name is, and this name is God Himself.
Mm.
This name is Radha Krishna, and you have to chant offensively. Otherwise, you have to chant offensively. And like if we're preaching about different aspects of the holy name in a way, then others will go, "What? You're some sort of fanatic. I don't want anything to do with this chanting."
Yeah.
Like that. Then that's our offense. Whereas if like this, let's say from street saying Kirtanad, we're just talking to people, yes, and we chant the names of God like that, like according to where someone's at. And if this is warning against someone who's neophyte or not very realized or mature, tries to preach about some more maybe esoteric aspects of the glories of the names of Krishna, and then others get a misunderstanding or they become negative, and that's the neophyte. That's an offense, because we're not. It's really about empathy. It's about meeting people where they're at and sharing, chanting Hare Krishna on that platform.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. I think Daru, he raised his hand.
I was just going to say to Kim, it's like the famous thing they say in Christianity, don't cast your pearls before swine. In other words, the pearl is how great the holy name is, and we're getting into that, trying to convince them of that when they're actually kind of swine-like, and they can just give them more prasadam, we say instead. Anyhow, I'm just saying this the practical use. It doesn't mean we can't preach. It says specifically, don't preach about the specific glories of the holy name. That's what we don't do. Waste time with that, because they could just do it for more offense, as he was just saying. You understand, Kim?
Yes, and actually that verse from the Bible did come into my mind as maybe a good, explanation for it. But yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Daru. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, everyone from Dihira Govinda's sharing, I kind of get, like, anyone can be supported in his spiritual advancement, provided we really understand where they're at in their spiritual life, and we would just support that. No need to do anything extraordinary to prove them. There's no need to prove anything, actually, as already everything is in the heart. It's just a matter of them connecting to this aspect of the glories of the holy name. Like I like to say, chant, stay high forever. So children, they can connect to that, right? Because they like to swing high. Like my siblings, I'll chant for them when I swing them on this, how do you call it, the swing? And they would chant and they would say higher, higher, I want to go higher. So everyone wants to be happy. And yeah, that's the all-inclusive glorious aspect of the holy name, is that it makes everyone unreasonably happy, without any reason, without any condition. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for joining this session. It was really ecstatic. I really appreciate your presence here. And yeah, let's meet tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to continue the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj Ji. And I marked where we left from. Going to save it. And see you all tomorrow. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Narasimha Dev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Tagora Premanande. Ram Ram. Hare Krishna Kim Keith. See you later. Hare Krishna. Have a good day.